So let me see the seal again. It's a Royal Seal of Canada.
Yeah, this is the Royal Seal of Canada. Whoops. Hang on. Yeah, that's it. And it says, what is it?
Of the three of us, I'm the only one who doesn't have a Royal Seal.
Amari usque admarim, which means from sea to sea.
Yeah.
It has the flags, the Union Jack, and the old Royal French flag. But I don't know why the French flag is there, because they're a conquered nation in Canada. I don't understand that. That's not.
Present Canada.
It is it's one of the founding nations, but it was conquered, so I don't understand what that is.
So you guys doing all right?
We're doing fine, Scott. Doing perfectly fine.
Do you have scratch? Those are both. Oh gosh, those are both scratches. Oh, his claws are bad.
This was from my leg about 20 minutes ago. So no wonder the cats run from him.
Yeah, claws are nasty.
Yeah,
they are.
That. Is he actually bleeding?
Me? Yes. Yeah.
Oh bloody hell! Where from?
The dog. He plays.
It's a crime scene. It's a crime scene.
Psycho dog. Psycho dog.
The dog is abusing me. I got a scratch. I got to clip his nails, but the last time I clipped a puppy's nails was 15 years ago with Church, and his nail bled for 45 minutes. So
it's tricky. It's not. It's hard to do that.
Dogs, babies, they're very fiddly when it comes to clipping nails.
Yeah. So what are we doing today, guys? What are we talking about? Can you hear me all right?
Scott, you look more like you're in prison than Julian Assange, I think.
I certainly look more mentally disturbed than he does. That's for damn sure. So you saw that video? That's that new video they have of him running around in a jail someplace.
I was laughing at that thing when they we leaked this video was leaked out.
Bullshit.
What?
Bullshit was leaked.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It was leaked, and RT was saying, you got to get permission if you want to use this video. I'm like, what? What?
Oh, really? They're gonna shut my video down?
Yeah. It said you're not allowed to embed this video anywhere else.
Oh,
like,
really?
What?
Yeah. They do it on a regular basis.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Stupid.
You violated the copyright.
That'll be my second strike, I guess. Oh, well.
Well, that's why I've decided not to show videos.
I don't blame you.
And I'm not. Like, it's just so stupid.
Because everyone's going to claim copyright sooner or later.
Yeah. Or YouTube will claim that there's a copyright strike or something. There's
well, in the UK, isn't there some kind of law stipulating now that you can't even, quote from articles? Even giving them attribution? Even giving them credit and putting it in the,
Sure about that, but I've heard about it.
You can't even use links. Yeah. You can't even use links.
But people be carrying on as normal, like as if nothing's happened, and so far nothing's happened, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. Plus, I've been kind of actually during Ramadan, so which is mental fasting, so I was still keeping on news here and there, but it's just like I wasn't as busy as I usually would be. And the last time I checked, it was literally about the US-China trade wars as well, and how I've always been dragged into it.
Yeah. Yeah. So just so you guys know, I've been recording for about.
I was wondering. That's
8
fine.
minutes.
I was going to record. I forgot though, but I'm glad. That's fine. Yeah, I had a feeling you were doing that. That's fine.
Well, I wanted. You saw me push the buttons, so.
Can I start recording now?
Help yourselves.
Okay.
Both of you.
Perfectly fine by me.
Let me make sure I got.
Are you going to record this, Abdul? Can you?
I was originally thinking we record once we say go.
Okay.
But then, if I
Yeah.
record, I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm recording now.
Let me just check and make sure this is.
Start it next to it then. I was going to double check settings first.
Yeah, I checked the settings. Yeah, it's fine.
Because you never know. You do something, something's about to go haywire. Something's bound to go haywire. You never know.
Well, I told Screencastify about my problem with the audio that I can't, like right now, I can't go to another tab. The audio on this tab will kick out. It will only record the audio in that, and they were kind of puzzled. They said you just put it on desktop, and I said, yeah, I tried that. That doesn't work.
Do you show with your phone camera or your smartphone or tablet camera, whatever it is, to show that problem in question?
What?
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to ask that question. What?
What? Oh, I'm not. I want the tablet. This is the all-in-one. This is the all-in-one.
I choked up on saliva for a second.
I think Abdul is like, he's dying here. And she's going on about Spotify. And he's fucking choking to death. That's
Spotify, no.
I was saying, Barbara, when you went onto Screencastify, or when you contacted them, did you actually show a video snapshot or actual camera screenshot to show the problem?
No, I explained the problem. They understood, but they were puzzled. And I don't know. They didn't understand. I didn't have this. Remember, Scott, we used to do videos, and I would show things on another tab.
Yeah. When
I was using the old software Loom. Not a problem. Then suddenly it didn't work, and I got the same problem with Screencastify. So I can't show anything in another tab. I mean, I can just say, just shut up. Everybody shut up, and then I'll show it, and then we'll talk about it. And that's all. I don't know. Oh, Scott, I'm also wearing your mom's shorts today in her honor. her men's size medium cut off sweat shorts is what I'm wearing.
You're wearing the Mickey Mouse shorts?
Mickey Mouse shorts. It's the Mickey Mouse.
The faded Mickey shorts?
Yeah, you can't see Mickey. Here's Mickey.
Mickey's age.
I like the men's size medium is what my mom wears.
And apparently what you wear. It looks comfortable.
Now, I just wear them around the apartment. It's fine. It's my sexy shorts.
She's wearing one of the shirts you gave. Right now, she's wearing one of the shirts you gave me, but that was too small for me. A 3X was too small for me. I gave it to her.
They look all right on her.
It's like a moo-moo.
Yeah. No, it looks all right. I know they're giant, but she wears them well. She can pull it off.
Did you upgrade your camera recently, Scott?
I'm sorry,
Did you upgrade your camera recently?
No, what I did was I downgraded the...
all right.
I had to reinstall Skype, and I think the image is better because it's a.
Because I've noticed a frame rate improvement on your camera.
Right. It looks better.
Now, my laptop becomes a hunk of junk, guys. But yeah, I'm noticing a frame rate improvement when I'm watching you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I've set the recording settings down a little bit, and I've got a better Skype thing here. I can make it bigger. I didn't realize I could do that. I can actually make my image bigger and just put it. Yeah. Take Abdul's image completely out.
You should do that if you want. I'm with settings now. Otherwise, anything can go haywire, no lies.
So what are we talking about today, guys?
It is better. Yeah, the image. So that's Skype. Yeah, last time we talked, Skype wasn't working.
Yeah.
Not properly.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's recording okay.
Yeah.
I think it is.
So what are we talking about, guys? What's the news today? I wanted to ask you, Abdul, sitting over there in the United Kingdom, what's going on with Theresa May? What's going on? Is she left yet? I know she resigned, but she's still hanging out.
And apparently there's going to be a prime minister race. And so far, there's been a few names being mentioned, like Michael Gove. And from what I'm seeing, people are talking about is crack cocaine history.
Yayo.
Really? In England?
Yeah.
Oh
like, who's going to be the most shit-faced prime minister?
Didn't that also happen in Canada? Wasn't there a guy named Ford in Canada who was on video smoking crack?
No. Not Doug Ford is his brother, and he's the premier of the province of Ontario. Was it Doug Ford? I'm getting the Ford brothers.
I think it was a fat guy who was smoking crack.
Hang on, I'm going to ask Jake real quick.
All right.
Fat Ford.
Hey, Jake.
That's a bit rough.
Jake.
I thought our political system was screwed. You guys got crackheads running your country. I think it's Doug Ford. I'm not sure.
Jake is sleeping. Sorry, he's taking a nap.
He can't hear you because the good ear is down on the pillow.
Come to think of it, I'd rather have...
Right, it probably is. Yeah, he can't hear. Yeah. Anyway, I forget. Doug Ford is the brother of the guy who was a drug addict. I can't remember the Ford brothers' names. I'm going blank. I can't remember.
So who else is running in the prime minister race? You guys don't elect a prime minister. You elect a party, and the party elects the prime minister, right?
Yeah, that's how it works. And I've also been hearing about Boris Johnson being in the race, but not much has been materialised of that so far. So literally, is just this is barely starting off at the moment.
So she's still prime minister.
Basically, for what I can tell, but the reports have been saying that she's officially left now. So the party's kind of in limbo in that regard.
Yeah, she was going to. I know it was going to be effective early June. So yeah, she's probably going. Yeah.
But she promised to stay in power. She stay in office until somebody else was brought along. I thought when she announced, she'd say she was going to stay.
Not the case. Not the case, from what I can tell.
Good. Well, good. There you go. You guys are a rudderless ship with no captain sailing on the seas. You have no prime minister.
They have a queen. They have a queen.
They have a queen.
Yeah.
They have a queen. She's the head of state.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter all that much, really. After all, Theresa May did say she serves the queen. So there's that angle. What else do you want to put on the political chopping board?
So what else is going on? So we got Brexit coming up, and that's going to be what, October 31st. That's Halloween. You're going to have another Brexit vote.
If it ever happens,
you think it'll happen?
I think they're just taking the mickey, to be honest with you, to the point that I don't think it may actually happen. That's just my thought, though. I do hope I'm wrong, but with the way it's going, it wouldn't surprise me if it's right, if it actually does become true, and that it just doesn't happen.
No.
Because it did happen to, I think, Ireland also had some referendums as well, and that was reversed on the second vote, I believe. I can't remember which one it was, but they did have a referendum.
They had a referendum about joining the EU, didn't they? And they voted against it. And then they just made some bullshit second thing up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So,
right.
I don't think it's exactly to do with leaving the EU. I think it's something to do with one of the treaties. Because I think they were already in the EU at the time. But it's definitely one of the treaties. I just can't remember which one.
All right. Well, what else is going on in the world we want to talk about?
This
I'm going blank now. I'm going blank now. Shoot. God.
You guys are lively today.
Yeah.
Well, is the yellow vest thing still taking place? I heard this is like the 30th week, right?
Yeah. It's still kind of on, but it's not being mentioned as much as it was last year.
Huh?
So there's that.
Sure.
Then there's the US and Iran as well.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with that?
That's still pretty messy in that regard.
No. You think that's going to be an actual fighting war?
I hope not. I actually hope not. Because that's the last thing anyone needs, in all honesty. But saying that, though, it might happen. It might happen, but I'm not sure when. I'm still 50-50 in that, in terms of the predictions in regards to whether it'll happen or not.
What do you think, B?
I think it'll just drag out into more sanctions. They'll just drag out the sanctions. I mean, that's the way they wage war now, with sanctions.
Yeah, more.
There might be the odd incident, but I don't know. It would really take a lot. Israel would really have to stage some sort of false flag or something.
Another Liberty event?
Yeah, but Iran is it's a much bigger country. That's a big country.
It is. Yeah. It is. It's literally next door to Pakistan, believe it or not.
And even the European countries, they're not on board with. They don't like the sanctions. They don't.
No, just growing distrust in that regard.
China and Russia. So, I mean, if they think there's going to be a hot war, a real war, that's just insanity.
There was a quote that I read someplace. I forget where it was, and it was somebody from the military-industrial complex. It was some military planner, somebody talking at one of these talks they give, and he was saying, the war is a great way to make money for the military industries, but the threat of war is also a great way to make money for the industries. And so I did a video about a week or so ago talking about Elizabeth Warren, hopping up and down, screeching about, we're about to go to war, Everyone talking about to go to war. All that does is make the military-industrial complex money. Just promoting the idea that we're going to go to war helps make them money, because that helps justify pumping more money from Congress and from the national coffers into the next military budget.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think there's any way in hell, especially after the fiascos that we've had in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, and after those, there's no way in hell they're going to actually get into a shooting war with Iran. But they do want a big chunk of Iran for the Greater Kurdistan project. So my guess is, like you guys talked about, sanctions, continuing to step up the pressure on Iran and try to force a regime change, the kind they got in Brazil with what's the guy's name? Who?
Bolsonaro.
Yeah. Hopefully they're gonna try to do it that way, and they're not gonna stage some kind of color revolution. But Hillary Clinton, she tried with the election. She tried to establish a green revolution and a color revolution in Iran. So you never know. They might.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be a shooting war.
No.
Hopefully not.
No.
But it's still pretty nasty as to what's going to come months down the line.
Yeah.
And forecasting that isn't always going to be an easy thing, because you never know what the plans will be or what the outcomes will be.
Plus, you have you have different interests who are calling the shots, and some who are trying to do it on their, calling shots and coming up with schemes on their own. So you never know. Some of these guys are just flat out crazy. I mean, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton,
Yeah, those two weirdos.
Yeah, they're psychotics, So God knows what the fuck they're coming up with. So
of course.
You can just cross our fingers and hope, but there you go. Yeah, so I ran across some interesting. There's a video somebody posted a link to in my recent video on Assange and his, which will probably come down now. That I didn't realize RT said you can't use the video, but there's an interesting video. Two guys sitting around talking about some history. It's made in 2017 about some of the history of Julian Assange, and there was some interesting stuff that I found there, and I don't think they really touched on it. I'm going to do it tomorrow in a video.
Oh, okay.
But I never really understood why it was that the Obama administration decided to act as if they were going to prosecute or seek to prosecute Assange, but they never did. And everyone nowadays talks about how Donald Trump has gone forward and he's going to prosecute and he's got these 18 charges and blah, 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 blah. It's the first time. But Obama wouldn't. He walked up to that line, but he wouldn't cross it. And it never occurred to me why he didn't cross it. But now I know. And the trick is, you have to look at when, what's his face? His attorney general, the African-American guy, the tall guy, Holder.
Oh, Eric Holder, yeah.
Eric Holder. When he announced that they were going to prosecute everybody involved in these leaks in November of 2011. And it was 10 days in August, or November 30th. It was 10 days after November 20th when the country of Sweden issued an arrest warrant, international arrest warrant for Julian Assange. And that was a year after he allegedly had intercourse with these two girls who were asleep. He was partying with them that night and fooling around with them. Rape, basically. And he had been hiding in this billionaire's mansion for about a year, and they decided to go ahead and prosecute in Sweden. And immediately after that, 10 days after that, we have the announcement from Holder that everyone involved is going to be prosecuted, and that's when they decided, okay, we got to give this guy some kind of asylum someplace. But you can't give him because he's an asset. You can't give him asylum for rape. That doesn't look good for the country. That doesn't look good for Ecuador, right? You can't be defending a rapist, but you can defend a journalist who's being abused or going to be abused by some other country like the United States. So in order to give Ecuador cover and allow them to put Assange up in the embassy and keep him out of the hands of the Swedes, they announced that they're going to arrest and charge and prosecute everyone involved. And that's what gave them the justification to say they thought Julian Assange was going to be prosecuted by the United States. He would be extradited from Sweden back to the United States. That's why they did that.
Yeah.
So I never really understood why they had done that without actually prosecuting or just threatening to prosecute until I looked at the timing of it. That's a good video. The link is in the comment section in my video, today's video down below.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's about an hour and 40 minutes, but it's worth watching. There's a lot of good information on him.
Yeah.
The guys really aren't dynamic to listen to, but there's some really good information there. If you have a chance, check it out.
Definitely will do.
Yeah, but he is another thing that they showed in there was he directly quoted, who is that CIA guy back in the 60s who was in Canada and taking college freshmen, women mostly, and running experiments on them. He was CIA mind control guy. You know that.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about.
He was a doctor.
He's a doctor.
He was a doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know? Did you know that at one point in time when he was giving an interview, Julian Assange quoted something that guy said, basically about verbatim, without giving him credit, as if it was his own thought. But it was word for word, line for line, like 3 sentences. Talking basically about there is no real right and wrong. Everything is only as the individual perceives right and wrong. Now, I thought that was interesting because that guy abused fucking women.
Oh, yeah,
that CIA asset abused fucking women for the CIA. And this guy, Assange, was charged with or accused of abusing women.
Yeah. Oh.
And he didn't even recognize it. He didn't even give the dude credit for the line. He just spouted it out there, and it was word for word, line for line. Again, that's in that video. I strongly recommend watching if you have a chance.
I know that case because they actually on the CBC here, they did a documentary. There was a woman whose mother was one of the victims. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think they had to settle some case or something with her. I forget over that or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And Naomi Klein, say what you will about her nowadays, but she opened up her book. I think she talked a great deal in depth about that doctor and the mind control experiments up in Canada, because she's Canadian too, right?
Yeah, her parents were American. She has dual citizenship, but she's born and raised in Canada.
Right. Yeah. But in her book, Shock Doctrine, she talks about that case quite a lot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. MK Ultra, I believe, is the name for that mind control program.
MK Ultra.
I think so.
Well, but I mean, there were others. There were others. There were others in the MK series. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah, I always thought it was interesting that they did that in Canada. It seems that they can get away with stuff like that in Canada more easily. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
They use Canada as a little testing ground. In fact, there's the October crisis in 1970. I've heard it was a test for 9/11 because there was nationwide martial law.
I'm not familiar with it. What?
No.
Well, it was when Justin's daddy was prime minister in 1970. So there was Quebec separatist terrorist groups, and supposedly they kidnapped a couple of. One was a British diplomat, the other was a Quebec provincial minister, and he got killed. And Justin's daddy, Pierre, invoked the War Measures Act, which is basically martial law. So there was martial law nationwide in Canada, and they were just picking up people off the streets and holding them indefinitely. Yeah.
And what year was this?
And 1970, and I'm going to do a video about that because I didn't realize that it was they think it might have been a false flag and sort of a dress rehearsal for 9/11. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty sinister.
Yeah, martial law. Yeah, because people just picked up if you happen to know somebody or whatever suspected of anything, just knowing somebody, then you're picked up off the street. Yeah. And they have a really bad feeling about Trudeau.
How long did that go on?
I don't know how long it went on. I don't know all the details. But I'm going to do a video about that because the Quebec national holiday is coming up. And I mentioned it in my video last year. And I just noticed that reference to it possibly being a false flag attack. And as a dress rehearsal for something like 9/11. I'm going, oh, that's interesting. So I'm going to dig into that more.
You should.
Yeah.
People know that, that's for sure. Because we did hear all the pre-9/11 events, mainly from a US sort of perspective. So I think that would be an ideal idea for a new video.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find much information, but I'm going to see. I just saw it mentioned in passing when I did that video last year. I thought, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
There's a lot of information.
I have to ask. Are you guys like turning into such winos? You just have like empty bottles of liquor laying around on the floor behind you while you're doing videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
Water. Not fizzy soda, just fizzy water this time round.
Here's one.
It's empty.
Hang on.
Right, you got another one?
Yep, yeah.
Wow. You've gone full wino. I like it.
They're empty. They're just nice bottles. I'll throw
What's
them
the
out
other one? What's one in your
eventually.
right hand? What is that? Is that a port?
This is a bottle of port.
It is a port.
A different type from that. You have a bottle, but this is a different. It's a sweet dessert.
Yeah.
It's just kind of an interesting bottle.
I wonder
It
if
looks
they-
exotic. That bottle looks exotic, I should say.
It looks like the bottle from Leave It. What was the what was that? My Genie. What was that fucking TV show?
Oh yeah, I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie.
That's why
Yeah.
it is. It is an interesting bottle, isn't it? Yeah. I can still. Huh. Nice.
Nice.
It is very nice indeed.
So, I'm dying to know, did you lose any weight while you were fasting?
Not really. Not really.
Do you gain weight? Does
I stayed the
Ramadan-
same.
So how long do you fast? How long do you fast?
From dawn to sunset, basically.
Just
So
one-
that's how long that
just-
start.
for one day or
The whole month,
the whole month?
30 days, yeah.
And you didn't
Pretty
lose
sure
any, you didn't lose any weight.
Did you gain weight?
I
Or do you-
told you, I stayed the same. I didn't gain much.
Were you standing there? Were you standing there looking at the sun dropping down, with a cake in one hand and a pizza in the
I
other?
just that's pretty much all I've done. Besides personal stuff, but yeah. That's all I've done.
What do you eat at the end of the day to break the fast?
Dates, fruit.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
odd
that's just
shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So is it finished? Or are you still doing it?
I'm finished. It's finished now, so I'm literally back in business now,
Well, that's good.
so to speak.
Good.
Did you party?
No, I didn't do that. Any of that.
Is there like a celebration when the fast is over?
Yes, it is. It starts off with the Eid prayer, and then everyone starts meeting each other and greeting each other. So that's all I've done, really.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice.
Thank you.
Eid Mubarak.
I wouldn't be a Muslim for very long. Obviously, I'd be at the Muslim orientation. Okay, you, Mr. Creighton. Okay, we have this fasting program. I'm out. Where's the door?
Yeah, hot dog.
Look at the time. I gotta run. I gotta go fast. Go fast.
I honestly don't know.
I got a thing right now. Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, that's it.
I take a hot dog out of my pocket and be eating it on the way out the door.
Hot dog. All beef. It's got to be all beef, though.
I got a thing with the Scientologists in about 15 minutes. I gotta run. They let you eat whatever you can afford. They just take all your fucking money. So, what else is in the news right now? Oh, YouTube, the big fucking Vox adpocalypse.
Vox adpocalypse. What?
Well, yeah, well, this started actually in January, where they were going to marginalize channels and videos with the algorithms. And I didn't know they were cutting it made sense. The new blog article said that they've cut view counts in half or something. for certain channels. And I noticed, my view counts were really...
They have, and they're also trying to abbreviate view counts as well, and subscriber counts.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're trying to actually crack down on political content. They've made it more obvious now.
They're cracking down on political content. They're also cracking down on, like, The Quartering, which is a game channel.
Yeah,
CNET went after them. CNET went after them, trying to get them basically to do the same thing. CNET, which is it's a website, a techie website. Right. And they apparently did some article 2-3 days ago talking about how angry the gaming community on YouTube was, so they should take certain gamers out.
Yeah.
And the guy they picked on was a Quartering, and he does a lot of game reviews and plays games on but he also gets political. That's what they really don't like that. Like PewDiePie. Yeah. You know, he was a big target.
Well, we'll have those tendencies, but yeah.
Yeah.
I watched some of his videos, and I'm not seeing anything that's offensive or wrong. But even then, they shouldn't be banning people willy-nilly just because some fruitcake decided to get all salty or use that as an excuse.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a fruitcake.
Well, a lot of fruitcakes. Just not ones that promote censorship. Oh, God.
Fruitcake. I tried watching one of that guy's videos. What's his name? It's not Marcus.
PewDiePie?
No, not PewDiePie. The guy who leveled the charge against. Yeah. The guy who Carlos something. I tried watching one of his videos. They're fucking unwatchable. They're just unwatchable. And then you look at other Vox stuff, and it's all just establishment suckling bullshit. Yeah. They were attacking people who were in the anti-vaccine movement. They were, just pure fucking propaganda. And what I saw I did watch one of that Crowder, Stephen Crowder.
Yeah.
Crowder.
He's also unwatchable.
He's Canadian. Huh? And he's Canadian. Too, yeah.
And he's unwatchable Canadian. But he did mention something that I didn't know. And that was late last year sometime, or mid last year sometime, YouTube and Google put out a new $20 million program for content creators who would produce, acceptable establishment type content. Vox was one of the two. So they got $10 million from fucking YouTube, and now Vox turns back and asks YouTube to take out Crowder. Because Crowder had some things, calling people fruitcakes and shit. But Vox is paid by fucking YouTube.
No
Vox
kidding?
is on that program, yeah. And he actually showed a link to the article. There's a mainstream media article talking about it.
A lot of the media don't like. A lot of the gaming folks don't like Polygon, which is linked to Vox Media, by the way, for such reasons as well. Alongside creating obvious strategy of tension between gamers and non-gamers in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just what they don't like is they don't like competition for the news media. They don't like competition because their viewership is going down.
Yeah.
And they're very militant in their beliefs in a negative sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got quite a few new subs overnight, and that kind of surprised me. And I was wondering, maybe there are some channels being taken out, and people are kind of looking for. Yeah, I was really surprised. I got less than 10. I mean, a lot for me.
How many
did
you get?
10, maybe 8 or something, which is a lot for me.
Well, I went from I think 19.
Yours is jumped too.
18 to 1944 overnight.
Yeah. So I don't know that was weird.
It's a glitch. YouTube will take them away pretty soon, don't we?
I know. Yeah, the count thing. my first Debbie the Debbie the Sane Progressive video had almost 3,000 views, and suddenly I looked and it was like half that, and going, what? How do you unwatch a video? What? Yeah. You know, YouTube, the numbers never make any sense. They just everything.
Russians bought a BB.
What?
Tom David, the Russians.
What?
Russians, I say.
I can't
The
understand.
Russians?
What?
Time to blame it on the Russians, I say.
Oh.
Yeah, Russians. I thought I heard Russian. Okay. Yeah.
I think I pissed him off. He's mad.
It's still fishing from relief.
So I don't know. I mean, it looks like YouTube is just gonna take out from the language that I showed in the video from their post. It looks like they're gonna take out anything and everything that challenges, any quote unquote violent events. The establishment
borderline.
narrative.
I like that term, borderline.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything that challenges the narratives of these fucking events. So that makes me wonder if there's something on the horizon. Something coming down the pike pretty soon. Unfortunately.
You mean an event?
Yeah.
An event.
They said that they'll take out any video. They specifically said they'll take out any videos that challenge the well-established version of violent events. Yeah. They used, in one case, Auschwitz, the Holocaust and 9/11. In another case, they used something, the Holocaust and Sandy Hook, and then 9/11 and Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
But that tells me that, I get worried that, another Vegas shooting thing might be in the near future sometime, because they really had a hard time covering up that. They really did. That really changed things.
It's getting harder and harder for them to cover things up. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. Too many people have caught on, and they at least question what's going on.
Yeah. People are wising up, which is a good thing, but that comes at the expense of literally full-blown blatant censorship, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Even from mainstream outlets. Even from outlets that we use bloody every day. Facebook and Twitter as well. You don't see suspended accounts left, right, and centre without any notification. Yeah. Just because of one odd tweet that disagrees with the official story.
I've noticed a change in my sister, who was a Hillary Clinton supporter. She's retired, and I think because she has more time to kind of look at things and think about things, she doesn't disagree with me as much about the way I see things now. It's very interesting. Even my establishment sister is questioning things more.
Good.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
But she'll still vote for and campaign for Joe Biden.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten into that with her about Joe Biden. I don't know.
Would she be more? You think she'd be more inclined to support Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren?
Oh, probably Warren.
Yeah.
I would guess. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying she's gotten that far. She's just kind of coming along. It's very gradual.
That's good.
It takes ages.
I'm getting along with her, and I just.
That's good. Because stuff like this takes ages to overcome.
Yeah, and we've kind of discussed Cuba some. And she thinks it's all hip and cool to go to Cuba, but she doesn't really get how, unfortunately, they were opening Cuba up, but the problem is still have all the sanctions. So all that does, I noticed that people in Cuba, they start to question the system because they're starting to see and interact with the people, and they start to think that the Cuban government is to blame for any problems.
Right.
That's what I realized. So I told my sister, it's fine to open up Cuba, but you have to take all the sanctions away. Otherwise, it becomes a regime change operation, and people don't understand. The people there don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Obama reestablished relations and opened Cuba up for Americans to travel there, because he wanted the corporations to get in there and, but without removing sanctions.
Right. Well, he lifted some sanctions, didn't he?
Well, travel. I don't know. What else? He reestablished relations and lifted travel restrictions.
Didn't we have an embassy there? And weren't they saying that the cicadas were like some kind of
there's still
low frequency,
I know.
low
There's
frequency
still an
noise
embassy
attack or some shit? Right.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
But even the Canadian embassy, they're not issuing travel documents for Cubans to travel to Canada now because of that. They're saying, we had to cut staff because they were getting injured by those sonic blasts, which are just
by the grasshoppers. Damn commie grasshoppers.
But it's really sad that even Canada is caving into the U.S. on that. Jeez. Sad. And then the U.S. has cut travel in a couple of the categories, but I think that's just to discourage people. There's still so many categories you can still travel. You just give them you just say, I'm traveling this way. You just go. I think it's to discourage people. Like, I realized I was just being discouraged from going to Cuba, and I realized you just go. You can say, okay, I'm a journalist. You just go. You do. You just go.
Did you guys hear? Remember when we talked about that NGO, Pueblos Sin Fronteras, if I said that correctly, busing people up to make that crisis on the at the fence on the border? Remember that? Mm-hmm. That was about 3-4 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Yeah, we talked specifically. Did you know they arrested the head of Pueblos Sin Fronteras in Mexico?
Was it the head of that?
Yeah.
Oh, was it the head of that group?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the director. It's the guy who was taking the money from the fucking MacArthur Foundation and the Ford Foundation and Soros's Open Society. Right. Yeah. It was that guy. They arrested him. They arrested him for staging that fucking shit.
It's human trafficking, and the Mexican government shut down those accounts that were going to the border to finance that. It's human trafficking. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Yeah. And the money was coming from, let's see, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, the U.S., and UK. Yeah. That's where the money for that whole human trafficking operation was coming from. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of pleased when I saw that they had arrested that guy from that organization.
Yeah.
Good riddance, they say.
Yeah.
And now they're because of the tariffs or something, the Mexican government is going to they're going to send their National Guard to the border with, what is it, Honduras? I think. I forget which country.
I don't know.
To keep that. So there are going to be they're clamping down on the
flow of immigrants from Central America up through.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. That's good.
But it's of asylum. See, I'm kind of reading closely their terminology. So they're going to stop asylum seekers from getting into the U.S. and Mexico, I guess. But I think you kind of pointed out. So they want to control. I would say they're going to allow, cheap labor to keep coming into the U.S. They'll just say, you can't be an asylum seeker. Right. But then they'll make sure that the working age adults, males, can get into. That's what I think. So that's why I'm reading very carefully the terminology that they use. Asylum seekers won't be allowed in. Yeah.
Double speak. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you see it the same way?
I would as well. I'd be skeptical of what the real motives of that would be, to be honest with you. Especially anything when it comes to immigration and stuff like that. Because they say they're gonna. People say that they want to bring in refugees and all sorts. But the reality is there's always an ulterior motive, especially when it comes to exploiting the suffering of the people for corporate and other sinister gains at the expense of the people who've been displaced.
But that could be all part of this comprehensive immigration reform.
Yeah, well,
controlling the border more. I don't know.
Because speaking of that, Japan, according to reports, Japan said Shinzo Abe apparently said that Japan would rather focus on sovereignty, focus on its own people to help deal with fertility rates, rather than, bringing immigrants to bring up the population count to protect its sovereignty.
But don't the Japanese kind of have their own category of workers they bring in to exploit? I don't know.
It's monoethnic, more or less. You do have the odd foreigner here and there to coming into Japan, but it's very much a monoethnic country.
Yeah. But I think they let in maybe Filipinos. I think it's in for care as caregivers or in nursing or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Something I know for sure is they definitely let a few, if any.
I don't know.
So they try their best to keep things tight and under control in that regard. And to be honest, I don't blame them, especially with how things can get out of hand in that aspect.
So, Abdul, are you still doing... you had a computer issue, malfunction?
Yeah, it's going to be hardware changes.
What?
That's going to happen, that's for sure. So, in the meantime, I'm just sticking with the Sony PS3 that I had from years ago.
Can you record on it?
Sadly, no.
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 Yeah,
But instead, in its place, I'm just going to be using the laptop for any serious work in its place.
Right.
So that's the best in disguise, I suppose.
So you still have your blog, right? You're writing on that?
Yeah, the blog and political videos I intend to actually basically upload that stuff. But gaming's off the question for quite some time.
So for my viewers, do you want to give the location of your blog and your YouTube channel?
I'll do that right now, actually. For my blog, the web address is abzofficial.wordpress.com.
Okay.
And as for my YouTube account, I've got a weird URL that I can't remember from the top of my head. But I'll show you the... Hold on.
I'll post
You have the very, very unusual name of Abdul Hussain.
Yeah. No, if you actually copy my web address, it's just that it has a bunch of random characters. So I can't say youtube.com/XYZ452 in all the different in different cases.
But you can change that, Abdul.
Yeah, I can change that if I have enough subscribers, which I don't.
Oh.
So that's the problem.
Well, we can work on that. I'll post a link to your YouTube channel and your blog down below. And you're starting a new blog, right?
I've done that in my videos. I've put the links to those. Yeah, I've done that.
And you're starting a new blog, right?
Yeah, it's there. There's nothing there. I'll get around. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, there's.
It's just motivational stuff like that.
I think it would be easier to kind of just write, whenever. When you have to sit down and do a video, it's like put on the spot.
That's
and there's
all.
just too much information to put in a video sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not really comfortable talking on camera anyway, and I can't think of my feet very well. So that's why I think the writing would be better. And it probably helped me with the videos too, I think.
So what's the address going to be? Or what is it now? How do you spell that?
It is...
Barbara's.
Yeah, I know. Aunt BB is a very popular website address for the Blogspot. So I had to make it bi-national Aunt BB. It's bi-national Aunt BB.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just Aunt BB, but it's by... I think probably I should have just said bi-national BB, but anyway, it's done.
All right.
So there is a link, but there's nothing there other than Aunt BB. That's it.
You could have called it transplantedcanuck.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
What?
Transplantedcanuck.blogspot.com.
I'm not an effing Canuck. What are you talking about?
Excuse me.
I'm not a dumb Canuck.
I think
Man,
we lost him.
Wrong.
Oh, there he is. He's back. He's back.
I'm transplanted from Virginia.
Transplantedhillbilly.com.
Oh, God.
Well, we are pushing an hour on mine, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap mine here, but we can keep going if you want. But I want you guys to say bye to my audience, and I thank you guys for watching. And please look down below. You'll see links to these guys' websites and their YouTube channels. Everyone say bye.
Bye.
Bye.